So this is the first video. The second one, the first one was on Charles Running. The technically crashed a battery, and that crashed a battery. Was today there was no weirdo right in the front. We noticed he went back and forth there. We check up on the cat. Baby cat is here. Where's mama cat? Okay, sir. And we'll check up on the other cat. As I was saying, the phone didn't die. The battery just died right now. I put the phone to charge, and the charge is in the same place I left yesterday. All of this was in the, but just explaining, there was this vehicle we really passed there. I got a plate, but I didn't want to put the plate since it's going to YouTube, so except what I did in the video, because it might have nothing to do with it, because the car park is up in a weird place. I think it's thinking fit. I feel more more likely the criminal should have come in a motorbike or by foot in alignment with the other dozens, if not hundreds of times, where I'm stepping here like this in the middle of the night. So, it's simply not in line. The cat checks, so the target seems to have been me and not the cats. I'm gonna demonstrate a couple other things to you. So yesterday, I mentioned in one of the videos that I got I think it was something like that. Again, it's for a lot of drugs on me. It's just, I think it's something to the effect of, that the safe is standing right here, which implies the thing. And I don't know if I touched it to check on, or I implied that I say in one of the videos if I did it, you should not have. But it doesn't matter. This is for the day before, right? As you can notice, yesterday was not exactly well planned when I went to sleep because it's a day for me. So here's that. When I wake up in the morning, and I can tell you categorically, I did not do anything. And went there to sleep. Sorry, I didn't. I didn't went there to sleep. I don't know really why. Oh, yeah, I know why. Because I wanted the other cat to show up. It's going to be explained in the future. I cannot explain that now. But I wanted her to feel comfy here, and I wanted to check. That was as simple as this. It was the most stupid fuck-up reason that you can imagine. I went on there for a couple seconds to check if everything was fine. And it wasn't, by the way. Like, this bag was in the wrong place, everything. And all those things are not just inside this bag. See the space over there on top? That's why I'm talking about this thing about the other phone that I referenced in the other video yesterday. It didn't publish anywhere. It's not on YouTube. I just said it. Yeah, that's a little glance, by the way. Oh, for the record, all those things, all those bags you see there are inside one of the bags. Or one, at least. And this is a bit of a mess. Well, more or less, not so much right now, but once one of them, if you change the angle, it's almost like a miracle. It's all very tight, tucking up, unless they stole stuff from me. Calm down, baby. I don't want my cat losing it. I know it's time. Oh, by the way, that'll be the water for the cat. Slash pillow. It was not so much on purpose, to be honest. I mean, love for me to say here that I did that to make sure that they don't put anything in the water for the cat. But that actually is just because I couldn't find anything else. Normally I use the coat, but the coat, in my mind, and it was already locked up inside the bag and took the stuck in. You saw how the thing was? I shouldn't have pulled it off. I really shouldn't have. I was concerned about that. Yeah, I just want to do this is called the Master Weight Seal. That is inside. And again, it's just a little bit. So that's the mask. Except the bottle. So if you want to know that weird thing, because those bottles are supposed to be inside things. They're not supposed to be loose as they are right now. And I organized that the other day. There's one extra bag goes on top, and that bag was supposed to be tucked in. Although she said, since a reference that now I should be concerned that in the future they're gonna think that the bag is behind the other bag would have the camera inside, so it was through the black opaque bag, you know. But the thing is, again, you get to the business share. For I mentioned before, it's not so much a making name, but it is an earned title. And for them, it's very well run for things like this. So, except that normally, they're changing a little bit. Normally, I would expect some harming done to the innocent cats or some other thing. But most importantly, this didn't have to be left on top of me as I woke up. That is because Fitz and she got pissy. Because they couldn't find the thing that wasn't actually killing. And, well, there you go. Also, by the way, I have to say, since those teenagers referenced something about my underwear inside Mufasa that day. Also, I think last time I checked, the thing was for that, but maybe not gonna, like with the full length. So, also mention that. But that I cannot say for guarantee that I didn't just lose up to pee because of the many times I have to pee because of that crimes, that drug. As for the physical, identical. So even if in the pocket, the father at some point it left some, stock in it. But again, they are looking for a recorder in video. I cannot stress this enough. This had been a fully tucked in. I have to put it back so you guys can see. Fully tucked in bag. That is black and opaque. And they'll be looking for a video recorder device to record something here. And you see how pitch dark it is during the night? For yesterday, I just want to point that as a very clear glance to you. So I keep telling the reporters that are on the rest of the planet is not going to be fooled by this tier of criminal. Yeah, I think that's a fairly safe assumption. But when you go to the other face of the criminals, they tend to find me being assaulted in the middle of the night after being sedated plenty. As you see the faces in the mall and in other places, they make specific references to let you know that they are aware and in detail know what to go on this. I lost what I was saying. But there is indeed a device recording one of the bags, which I'm clearly not going to reference, in audio, as it often is. And I had this. I even referenced that in a video, saying my feet got stuck there in the board, and I was going to put the things in. And one of the things that would come up was put the audio recorder device inside the backpack, so you need to stay out in the open. And I only do that because of sheer coincidence. And the chances are very small. Again, I go there for a lot of days, for months now. And out of mere chance, my feet got stuck in the boards, and I did that. Funny enough, it got stuck again when I was putting this in. Not in, but the second time. Because you see, I put it the first time, and I shoved it in the back, and it was kind of open. So that's what I'm saying. When I mentioned it was stuck in, I cannot stress enough. It was fully tucked in. You look like a flat surface almost. The chances of this happening in the nothingness of the night. If this had been through an earthquake, which this land doesn't have, because again the blast with everything except whoever showed up, the after the natives, of course. The point is, it's gonna have an investigation. Right? They have no even extreme wind. Extreme wind. I'm gonna show how it was. It wouldn't have made a difference. It had to be some type of physical change to the ground to cause it to open, or someone going down. And even then, you would open up the bag, but don't spill the thing. Spilling the thing would only happen if someone pulled it down. But seeing how the bags were, you imagine that there is a rolled up coat. We're going to demonstrate everything in a second. That's how this rolled up. Goes. So this goes, though. I'm going to check if there is no cuts, because again, anybody in the model would see as any damage to the bags. The only bags that have to carry everything else as a very dumb thing, but as much as a confession of guilt, right? Because I would never do that and then get stranded. But again, it is part of the MO to do things like this. As I said, you had no business leaving this there. They could have just put it back on top of where it was, right? I mean, assuming it collapsed on top of me in the middle of the night, if it was going to wake up, I would have been woken up by that, not by picking it up and putting it back. And I'm not saying that I wanted that to happen. I'm pointing out that the level of arrogance and the level of it's not just the stupidity. Stupidity is to assume that there'll be a phone in the first place. The arrogance is what will lead this in a very conspicuously fashion way for me to find. Even more so arrogance is them being capable of shutting down the phone, let the phone on with battery, just so you could see exactly, quantify and see in video the moment when the phone shuts down to battery, because the power bank was here. And I started filming before getting up. So now for the fact that you have to tie up to my wood, you don't, but a little bit. I did not wake up since I went there. I went there to check something for this cat, so she'll feel more comfortable staying in, since the other ones have the place to sleep, but she doesn't. And I was concerned where she was going, because, I don't know, I was feeling something weird. Okay, so I wanted to make this very safe nest for her to be there, and I wanted to check if things were fine. 2, I went there in a matter of seconds, so much so that the phone didn't open anything. I think the last thing opened on the phone was the transfer app, the file manager app, for checking film space that I had open here since way before. Might have been the camera as well, I don't know. No, I don't think it was the camera. Okay, so it could have been the criminals as well. It could have been the criminals as well. It's an important one. I'm gonna start doing something to make sure the phone is safe every time the phone. But that's the thing. It wasn't. Let's say that I shut down the 2 fingerprints during the night, so they cannot physically assault me. Again, every time you touch a person, that's battery, right? In the case of assault and battery, after sedating someone with the thing. Don't think too much on the legal stuff. I'm just, as I said, I use that as a way to cope with a lot of things. And the point is, I cannot deal with. By the way, just pointing out, this is not mine, as well as most of the trash here. Of all trash that is here, this thing of medicine has outlived most of it, and it's like the most medicine has ever, right? Yeah, it's something for the nose. It's another mockery and another joke, because the drugs that they throw at times cause my nose to drip, so that's why they sample things for you, and then they threw the that. So if you think of it some control medicine to try to accuse me of something, that would be the MO. But in this case in particular, is essentially just, it would be funny as well, because again, as anyone who ever had control medicine, you just leave the boxes anywhere because you don't really care what people think, usually. Right? As for the But again, much like at least that one bag, I'm gonna check this one. That one is a new one that I opened yesterday. This one being the one that I've been carrying it for quite some time. And no, it doesn't appear that there was damage. There's something here, but this is normal. Oh, by the way, this is the difference? I think. I don't know. This one looks normal enough. How it was from just scratch. But maybe not. I don't know. I have that one there. If it is, to me it looks a little bit like a normal scratch because you can see that there's no rupture in it. But honestly, as I said, I don't know. Where's the feedback? And the thing is about the fucking crimes like this, they usually do something so small. That's the thing why it's tough. Except the ones when they carry thing, which I'll be able to tell you for sure that they didn't have yesterday because I checked. Small holes like that throughout. Very tough to say if it happened or not. I would have just assumed in any case that it was just there already before. Here's the deal for here. This one, I'm gonna check now which apps to open and I'm gonna put on the file for the next video. Which should be the fourth for this morning, and then the third of the ones that go to YouTube. Oh yeah, by the way, just noticed now. Again. Because I noticed, and you can see that in the videos of the night. I don't know if I'm going to publish all of those, or at least one, probably the last one. That I was generally concerned that she wasn't here, that she had just bolted and they have no idea where or why. And I wanted to check on her, and I was going there to see, because the second night that she kind of went and I couldn't find. The other one, I just didn't give too much thought to it, but this one, and I just wanted to show that she was okay. Most importantly, also, I wanted to know if she had like someone who could feed her, because again, those cats are somewhat of a drag on food and other things. But I much prefer that to be in a place where I know she's safe rather than anything else. And again, when they stole my cat, they entered some lengthy details about the chances of criminals who would steal a cat from another person, from their mother, from quite literally their mother's breast, and how well they would be, how good they would be as owners. So, as I said, I much prefer to have them and even pay for the cost and guarantee they're safe. What I'm just pointing out is that you don't need to be special to leave some food for them. But for what it's worth. So if she had a place that she can go to, which she would spend some time, and yeah, they wouldn't feed her on purpose, because again, I only started feeding that big cat recently, after they kidnapped his brother. Before they kidnapped his sister, but after they kidnapped his brother, I think. Something around that. Before that, in the videos, she's big enough. Someone was feeding her, and someone stopped feeding her. And my idea is that it's someone from the slums over there on the other side, or somewhere nearby, where they stop feeding her knowing that I'll be feeding her, the homeless person. So I wanted to point out if that was the case. But either way, I couldn't. And there's this weird thing that I think there was someone inside the truck there, and it wasn't, and that's just so mad. I'm not diving too much on that now. Hey, baby. So, and again, I don't mind. So long as it's guaranteed that she's safe, I don't mind to do that. Means I'm just pointing out that I'm just explaining why I was there to check out. And the best case scenario, ideally, I was just going to the house. Ideally, I could see her crossing through the field there. They said there was a lot of trucks in the way yesterday. To a house in the window or something, and then it'd be easy to prove. Ideally. But I don't know if that's the case again. So there you have it. as for the, but I'm just saying, this a whole window is just to showcase why he's trying to prepare the little thing here for her. Also, just for myself, if you think that is not making sense or whatever, first off, just show how much you know me, but since it's YouTube and I'll be publishing this thing and it would have access to that lawfully for change, I mean, as far as the criminals go for change, and everybody else. And I also imagine that, again, much of the things that the reports are going to have access to go for what they had access to, which was unlawful, even though the intentions are different. So one is trying to expose the original reporting, quote unquote, the original publishing was unlawful by definition, with them stealing things and then broadcasting that. Okay? So, in that sense, I'm saying it's that lawful and unlawful. But in this case, so, putting the thing there, I just want to make sure, but it doesn't matter. You can just say that this is the place I was going to sleep. Yeah, keep in mind the coat was inside the bag. It was this, and I wanted to check if there was no wind coming in, if there was no way for the drugs or the throw coming in. Clearly there was, and I was having sedated. I've seen a lot of the friend yesterday, the heat sweat drugs, which means they're not relatively cold night. My body started to sweat. Only when I got in or around and I was fixing the things, I noticed that my body was just starting to sweat for no reason at all. And then I walked out, and then sweating stopped. Not nervous, not agitated, not fearful, just sweaty. Just sweaty. No, nothing else. So there you go. And I wanted to check everything was fine. And that's when they said everything. And every night they sedate me. I just didn't expect them to sedate me that night. And to be fair, since I know that every night they sedate me, the important things are already in place. The only extras were the food bag, the bag that has the foods. Some empty bottles now that were there, but at the end of the day, this was the food bag, right? Including the cat's food that someone gave to me to act as if it was a bag yesterday, which was fine. I didn't film them because I don't care that much. I got to feed them for one day and one morning right now, and that is good enough for any of whatever things that they think they're here to do. By that time when I said that they were there, I call shit wipers because I said it's an title, just like this and shit. It's not just a nickname. But janitors and other things, they were lofting their brains out because I was actually picking food that someone had offered me as leftovers. Yeah, to feed those 3 miles for the year. And again, I just saved a little bit on the ration that I purchased from before. That ration, because it's $18 a pop and 900 grams. Because the other supermarket increased the price of the ration, the Gia supermarket increased the price of the ration to $25 bucks the kilo. And it's a little tricky because the 900 grams and the other one's a kilo. But on their own supermarket, as I said, it's cheaper to buy the package thing for 900 grams. The price per kilo is cheaper in 900 grams for 20, which is still more expensive than what I purchased, which was 18, as I said. No, it's not 18, it's 18.99 or 18.9 or 18 something. But to that one, it was $20 for 900 grams, and it was still cheaper than 1 kilo for 26 or 25. You can do the math. I did it on the spot. I don't remember which number it is. So, again, don't see the logic. That's the only advantage of buying the thing in a plastic transparent bag. So they pick up the huge one and they put it in the machine in like the feeder, and then you lift up and you get the thing just pouring down. The only advantage of that is to get the amount you want, but most probably to buy cheaper than the other one that goes beautifully in the packaging. The packaging, as far as I understand, of 900 grams is the smallest one that exists, or either more expensive one or the most expensive one. So they're charging something whose only advantage to buy that way is price more expensive per kilo than the most expensive thing you can buy on the same store, on the same product. And there was no promo. I checked very clearly. There's the same prices there, and you know it's the same price because it's already more expensive than in Panto. And it's the same price you see everywhere as well. So, and it doesn't much make sense either way. You're going to promo one or the other, but either way, I'm just pointing that out. And as I said, same place, exactly the same time, one and the other. And you're comparing the price of the establishment with its own price on the other thing for the same product, same ration, same thing. You get the point. I'm just saying that, all of that to say that there's another thing that's done by someone else this time. But again, because if you think that this is a crime done by one person, then you don't have those faces, even knowledgeable. Those crimes that happen at night are the ones that you see all the faces and they reference to you, right? That's what those teenagers mentioned the other day when they said something about me not having underwear, because the only time as that was happening, funny enough, I get to monitoring clothes because of two reasons. One, potentially something they would do to me or try to say that my clothes are dirty or whatever. And two, because I don't want to stay with dirty clothes the whole day if I don't have to. I only put the clothes because they destroyed my pants as I was here. And I don't want that happening since I trust that won't happen during the ball. With me awake, and he's probably sedate me. Even after they sedate me, I change into other clothes when I get there. And as I go to change, I forgot what I was saying. As for the, I forgot what I was saying. I forgot why I mentioned the clothes. Well, what I was saying in general was that the references you see in the mall, I had a teenager somewhere, so I had changed, and because of the crimes I was in the backup when they threw the same different shit drugs or the medicine type of laxative, they released in the air in suspension. I know that my clothes start to get wet in the furthest away from my person parts. At any time when they start doing that, for instance, if I have, say I have this power bank inside my pocket, the part that starts getting wet is the probable. The probable will be more wet than any other part, which is not consistent with sweat, quite the opposite. It's consistent with something flowing through the air that gets bad. So they dissolve some type of laxative in some liquid suspension, most likely water. As you see them marking there as well, they say a lot of this, again, in places like the mall and other places like this. Bus stops, buses, anyway, as I was saying, so most likely water with some type of liquid suspension. That's also how some of the drugs I imagine are delivered to me, and then just spray that in the air. This has been tested, by the way, which is the reason why push comes and shove, to one side and the other, I'm still here and they don't create more problems for that, because they want an environment like this and they can assault me in the middle of the night, knowing that the sedatives are working, knowing that anything that I tried to stop that, because the same way that I don't know certain things and I have to go that test, they tested all those things. I was eyewitness to a man from Savannah, his place behind the bus stop, at least that's where he went, and he was there talking to the owners. I presume the owners of the place, because he was sitting in a couple chairs, and that was filmed as well, and it's already on the file. And again, compare the accusations about something randomly at some point in a more abstract way with me. This happened, I actually know the date, but it was middle of 2025 for sure. You have it on the file specifically, the film. That's why I'm not bothering to remember right now. And the guy would come here, and he'll point to the camera, and then he'll crouch, and he'll look up, and then he'll step back, literally like this. And then he'll crouch, and then get up, and then he'll go to the side, and then he'll crouch, and then he'll get up. And I was eyewitness. I was right there. My things are not there yet. I think the things that I have my shirt here there, he's destroying, throw my things away, despite asking me to remove them. But I'm not acting on that one right now. And again, I'm not talking about things for the shed. I'm talking about bottles of Coca-Cola and my other pair of pants and things of personal affection, like a couple of rocks. He is trying to argue that some random criminal stole just piles of rocks that I found near the river place that they were pretty and they were kind of special, like the same ones used for crystals. And his argument on fire, on video, after showcase that he was right there when this happened, was that this random criminal decided to steal some piles of rocks that by all intentions are completely normal and with no financial value whatsoever, that are literally found by the river in an open space, just picking up from the ground. Because again, they're extremely sadist, they knew that would hurt me, and even though it would be used as evidence, and at this point, I mean, they're stupid as fuck, but yeah, again, they use their stupidity as a shield, but for what it's worth, any reasonable person would assume that they realize the potential that if the argument is that someone's stealing it, they have things with no value being taken, they're very voluminous and heavy, the quintessential rock, like literally, when you want to think about something heavy that just adds up weight and that's nothing, you think a rock, right? Just adding weight, as well as tons of bags of cardboard, which also don't make any sense. So essentially, he paid someone to clean those things as if it was his, which is a crime because properties never passed to him. He might own the place, which he said he didn't, but it was someone else, and apparently someone was going to evict a 3-year-long tenant because of quite literally a couple hours. His argument also was that had to be done on that day. Oh yeah, by the way, openly, this random criminal showed up at the exact moment when he was trying to get me to dismount the whole thing. And he was excited. You could see him vibrating as I was leaving. And you can see that in video. This is Jelson's Crimes. You can see everything in detail, like close detail. He's excited about the thing when he threw away my things. And again, I just want to point out one extra thing. Much like when they stole his siblings, that picture, that image. All the time recently, a couple months ago, they'll be running around, right? And then someone stole his brother, and then his sister, and now it's just him, and he feels like them a lot of the time. And I said, those cats are a huge drag on me, i.e., I had to provide for them, I had to pay attention on them. Most of the days when I stay here, and they drug me with drugs coming from there. Mostly, sedative drugs, they call sometimes depression drugs because they cause a lot of sensation distraught. It disappears entirely when I leave. As far as exhaustion goes, it's just one day that was very sunny, and you can just walk down there at 1 p.m. and it was very sunny and I was loaded, and I started to feel very easy to breathe and capable of carrying a lot of bags, not as much as this, but it was still a lot of bags going that way. At 1 p.m. in the sun, peak sun, and start feeling better. My body was sweating less. I was feeling stronger, able to move, so long as I kept on going. And it was so much drug for me that I quite literally was this mind-altered state when I just kept on going because I just wanted to be anywhere out of here. And the bus, one of those buses from the only company the city has, because full monopoly, not for buses, for entire public transport. There is no other form of public transport other than buses, and there is only one company that does that. The city and people and everybody pays for traffic stops, the card systems, maintenance, everything else. The company profits out of the tickets, charging as much as I used to be when I come from, Rio de Janeiro. And the city you can check the differences from Foz do Iguaçu to Rio de Janeiro in size. But what I can testify to you is I never stood more than 10 minutes to pick up a bus. While here, in the regular weekdays, 1 hour every bus, and 2 hours on Sundays. And they occasionally decide not to stop because they feel like it, which is just filmed in video, while charging as much as in Rio. And that's just about the physical size, right? Because if I remember right, it's say for good or for bad, the thing of Rio is they most of the time in traffic stops or traffic signs, traffic lights, or just stopped in traffic for one reason or another, right? And because, a lot of vehicles. And that's not the company's fault, and they're not going to take the cost, so they're going to just pass that to the ticket. So that ticket already includes several minutes, if not hours, of you stuck on traffic. And you pay $5 to go from Barra to downtown. Barra being the Barra de Juca is the full name. Either way, again, I cannot think very quickly. Putting things in the air, and I have to watch because I have to remove the things from there. Yeah, so it's starting online. So just putting some context that. Okay, back to the point. Things that I have to say. It could have been a huge burden on me, even if the intention was to harm me in a way. Because I would have to now care for all those foods and all those bags that are here. And for them to be, now I have a bunch of extra things that I have no place to go take to. Obviously, I could take them to one place, so it's not going to be impossible. We have a place to take them, it's just going to be a little bit more hassle. So what I'm saying is that was done with a full intent to cause me to just destroy property and cause me to not have access to my property anymore. We're not talking about cardboard boxes. We're talking about, I made a list, foods, things of emotional value that, although quantifiable, still very clearly such exist. So, okay, the 13%, by the way, you can use that as a reference to charge the phone. To charge that with, by the way, let's have a look. But this is now, it might be upside down, I don't remember which way it was. Yeah, but this is super important. So the thing underneath more or less was, this is how it was there. And I mentioned fully tucked in, this is what I mentioned fully tucked in, almost vertical. That's how I left it. So imagine that from this to the way it was, ain't no chance in hell that happened without being seen. And as far as being seen, it was all that being pulled. And as far as that being seen, that's the one camera you see with the lights on, blotting the whole night, which for just a beggar passing through the street, you come to a place and you see a camera, shining light. Is that a place you're gonna go to do anything? Then you see, no, baby, that's not the time to play. Because again, I saw myself chasing him. In this case, it didn't be that much. Chasing him with a cable. And rushing because apparently there was other crimes in relation to this that was said to me about not being here because of the camera. So by the way, when you hear it saying something about any criminal college, it's saying about not being here because of some woods falling from the top or something similar to that, which also was referencing one of the days when I was writing here, it was down here. So you know that that's a lie at face value, but it will be a lie either way, as I said. The important thing is the purpose is exactly so to prevent liability, because that's one camera there, there's another camera there which light doesn't work at night, but I'm quite sure the infrared does. Besides, it's lit up enough, and there's another camera all the way down there during the night to get to see, particularly from here. Well, now there's some crates in the way, some convenient crates in the way here, but you can still see the approach, and there is nothing to do here other than me. of some crime against me. So that is from this side, because in front there are also 2 cameras pointing away, including the one in which I saw them getting video the crimes that happened. Hey, guys, what are you doing? That's the mother and son. Yeah, throwing something in the air, as they often do. For one of the last times when I went there to say, because this power bank had been missing, because apparently it fell down here and it was found over there in the ground in a very difficult place to find, so I had insisted on searching. And I'm very confident to be the same type of criminals that did this last night, hoping that I would just give him for lost and go buy a new one. Nothing else for the burden, or to get me there to get another crime done to me, something like that. And for all those things, when I went to talk to her, instead of acting like a normal person, trying to see what happened or whatever, because keep in mind, this event that happened last year, this was in October of last year. His argument to the end was just something tantamount to some criminals decide to rob you at the exact time when I wanted you to move your things out. So, at face value, based on its lie, it wouldn't be any animosity towards me, right? After all, just makes sense. And keep in mind, as I said, this is the place that they have this thing so set up, compared with the backup place of recently, where even if they were assaulted to me, they couldn't know where the cameras were. Notice that I conspicuously didn't mention any camera placement or phone placement on that place. It's something that I mention here almost every night. But I'm sure that you have that in account, right? I mean, it's not like they're having me walking around unable to know what I was doing, going back and forth for reasons that are unclear to anybody back down the backup place. Particularly on the first day where the backup was deployed and first done. After all, when you have this level of control and drug use on a person, even control through drug use, is something documenting that to not be able to pin down those things, and especially a person who you're already drugging, meaning you're already having all the downsides to on face of the public of everything. Not even being able to time it down. You have to be the dumbest criminals in there. By the way, most people, that wouldn't be a problem, because most people cannot afford to have the victims of the crime drugs and incapacitated on a regular basis. But, well, again, as I said, none of this is normal in any way. They also didn't have to do harm against those animals. But you see them do. Right? And not just talking about the kidnapping the siblings. You see the video of them playing around, and you think like you have to hate human beings to not know what normal human beings would think about saying that you're directly responsible for them just being kidnapped, and he now stays staring at the void there, as you saw, or then just laying on the ground as if he was a 7-year-old cat, because his playmates all kidnapped and snatched away. So, and all those things have to be rushed to the side in incredible hurry because of, like I said, that lie over there, over the supposed, over even some bullshit. Okay? And again, I'm not saying that I wouldn't remove the things within the morning. I'm saying that they're having to do that on a rush. It's an extra point. So, but for what I was saying about my thing, and they happen, and when it happened, and hey baby, or during the last part of the year, talk about crimes to animals, and they kidnapped all of them together, and I think they was going for that place. And one of the reasons they gave it back to us Hell, you could possibly be as something as mundane as she wouldn't stop crying. Every night she'll go back and forth, jumping over there specifically, and then jumping back. Just crying and crying and crying from the 16th of December all the way past the 26th, or around the 26th. I think it was on the 26th in the morning that she just shows up one day in the morning with them, and the first thing she does is to go to me to show that they're there. And theoretically a waste of food, but I knew that she was happy. On the first day when she was pregnant, not first day, but when she was pregnant, on the first day, she just went there to me. She would roll upside down. So, anyway, I mean, when you talk about females, every female likes to tell that she's waiting. And, baby, don't bite me. Oh yeah, she occasionally bites me, especially not that she's there. It's kind of well at this point. It's a cat thing. No, cats. But, for what it's worth, yeah, they're a fox. Yeah, they're both good. The last thing I want right now is to go in a classical fox. So, just remember Black Hat today. Should be serious. Thinking these days when I was reading about King George IV or something. Very loved monarch. Anyway, that's digress. This was using food for food that they gave me yesterday in the mall. That the janitors were laughing the brains out about me picking up. But not just the only ones, because last time when I look at them, they're very coalesced. But they coalesced after I started doing the video recording. I have to download that one again. Yeah, I moved away because 47 megabytes for a 7-minute recording is a type of decadent waste of space, digital space that I cannot afford. I moved to the 2 terabyte thing on the cloud. We're gonna download that again because I forgot about that one. As I was leaving the mall, I was thinking, is that something that I should know that happened? And I didn't remember that, so I thought it was just me leaving and me filming because in a second's notice, some disaster can ensue. So that's why we need to leave always monitoring, because sometimes there might be some criminal trying to say something to me, or some criminal posing a child doing something to me, or saying to a child very loudly close to me to go there and torment me. And you should be on record at all times, because if we have not only a grown-up man telling a small child to abuse a homeless person, but most importantly, they're trying to involve, which is within the charade, but they're trying to involve a child in this type of crime, where someone just assaults me there in the middle of the night after drugging me, and making sure that child is associated with this by faith through something that's going to be published and going to give online. Not given online. Given to the press and published everywhere. And backed up online, is what I mentioned there, in the sense to keep it safe, potentially. And if something is done to me, all those things are supposed to be published then, after enough time has passed. And if that's the case, they don't have any control over that. There should be that child involved, showed in something involving a war crime and abuse of a person, and all the other things that they do against me. Like cutting from my pants as I'm asleep, all the other disgusting things they do, and drugs and other things. All the things you want your very close, particularly a small child, closely related to. Not just related in the eyes of other people, but also herself thinking is A, normal, and B, something that she identifies with. Because when you join on the side of the criminals, which is what they are trying to get those children to be a part of, they're going to think the other things that those criminals do are the good things. Like, they're the good guys for them. And drugs are the basis for this. Without drugs, they wouldn't have today. They need that with Coca-Cola on my cup. Without drugs, they wouldn't be confident that they would do those crimes against me. Without drugs, they wouldn't have all these incidents that happen here, like the one that I mentioned, he threw in my things. And I get kind of stressed enough. Even if he wanted to hurt me, just getting me to remove the things, and I'll have to figure out in a time span of a couple of days what to do. This is a guy that often says, clean this now. Not like in time span of half an hour, but like now. I was moving sometimes the boxes because before I used to be in front. And as I was moving them to the back, there was this. I was literally holding the boxes in my hand, and he's saying, when are you going to go there to remove the boxes? And I was like, huh? And I was placing the boxes here because it's not just the first time, it's actually the second time they destroy those things that were laid in place. The first time it was in video, and I got to see again, it's smiling and thoroughly enjoying that as he was moving the boxes here to this place. So any of those vehicles you see apparently unloading people here, there's some concrete slabs. In the middle of this, it's a highway, right? In the middle of the highway, in 2 lanes, you have this crevice underneath where it's for rainwater. There is a concrete slab that covers, and I think covers a hole where the water drains goes for the rainwater system. So one extra thing, that red vehicle, that pickup truck, you see that in several times, including on the 31st of December and on Christmas Day, as in be a part of that crime. You see the videos from those days, and I'm even going to explain here. See the videos from those days and understand what the reference for that is, particularly from the noises making that for you to see. As for this lab, it's about the height of this. It's very easy to see as well, but that is the same place as the it's a criminal gas station that is. There's all sorts of things that happened there, like including one day it was 3 degrees outside, and they wanted me to be on the open, literally 3 degrees Celsius, and they wanted me to be on the open, and I had not much cover because someone was doing. I literally had a coat of cloth, and that was about it, because of crime and lies and other crimes they did to me, all of which in video, and all of which you also can see that I backed up already, and you see me being very aggravated about that, including later sending the